kicześć! Hi there everyone, how you doing? Hi there, holy people, hi Violet, hi there, Mate, hi! I'll be doing homework while this goes on. Oh, perfect then. Perfect, because, yeah, we're just working, so perfect background stream. I got to work with pathogens on Wednesday. I don't remember if I told you this community about it. You have told the category 2, if I remember correctly. I remember I was confused about the categories. I don't remember what they were called. But yeah, the danger tool. Oh, I haven't set the water to boil. Well, damn it. I guess I'm back to doing this. I don't know how to do it, by the way, I'm just, well, I've been a bit obsessed with it, but I've been a bit obsessed with my theme for years by now. At least it's better, if anything. Hi there, Adrian, hi! So today, there are actually a couple of things we could be working on. We could be working on the website. That's a thing I could actually be working on, because it will require certain things that will not involve the website. I know I'm being really confusing and really unguarded and such, but that's only because I just woke up. That's the reason. There we go. Full pot of coffee. I had a call yesterday with someone about the charity. Nothing exciting though. It was just me getting some guidance. BSL 2M, a pathogen that can infect basically any area of the body that has been recently traumatized. Oh, that sounds dangerous. You like having 3 minutes to watch makes my day better. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that I can make your day better, Adrian. I do appreciate that I can make your day better. I will try my best to make it as good as possible. Which is why. Okay, there we go. We have been testing the site with stuff, and yesterday I've been working on Badger. Badger is Caper's creation, which is a system for assigning badges, and I am giving it sentience. Which is funny because yesterday, as I was implementing Badger, I've actually implemented Badger in a way that I could close the website, I could terminate the website, but I couldn't kill Badger. So I've basically created a sentient, unkillable AI. Whoopsie! You know, it happens. But don't worry, after like 3 hours of wrangling with it, I've managed to kill it. It was a bloodbath. Oof, it was the lives we've lost. Yeah, anyway, so that was my day yesterday. It was fun. It was fun stuff. Fun stuff happened. Unkillable, yeah, sounds fun. Yeah. It knows nothing but hatred. Well, it knew nothing but hatred. Don't worry, I killed it eventually. It was genuinely quite funny because and also the only way I've managed to kill it in the end. I know that this is computer science, so it's not interesting to most people, but it's at the same time quite comical because the only way I've managed to kill it is by turning off safety. That's the only way I could kill it. Which I think is very funny, that right now, in order to get the website to work in any reasonable fashion, you need to turn off safety. The make it style, as I like to call it. Imagine how much power you would get if you tame it. Tame it! I created it! I had my Frankenstein moment of it lives. And then the realization that I can't kill it.
That does not depend on velocity. We recover the equation for momentum that everybody knows. And so this canonical momentum is a generalization of our usual momentum.
Okay.
Oh, I haven't even edited this part, I think. Well, shucks.
Okay, so what Remco just said is basically the same
Why is there an echo?
thing as what we went over. The reason why I'm putting it here is because we're the reason why I'm putting it here is because
is that yuck. Okay, I need to do it one more time because every now and then I need to play it because otherwise. It's just continuously getting in playing in my head, except it's getting louder and louder and louder. And so every now and then I need to,
the reason why I'm putting it here is okay, so what Remco just said is basically the same thing as what we went over. The reason why I'm putting it here is because anything I say in the video will be more easy to understand, but anything that Remco says will be more accurate. So from now on, that's how we'll be putting the explanations. First, the easy to understand explanation. So that's how we'll be putting the explanations.
And right here, just so that wouldn't be a dead screen all the time. And then, give me animations. Where are they? How is everyone's morning going, by the way? I do realize it's the middle of the week, so most people probably would be preoccupied. But I am shooting for myself right now more than anything else because I'm trying to be focused. To be brutally honest with you all, the video is not something I want to work on right now. I would rather work on Badger. But it is definitely really important, so. Actually quite okay, thinking about how I slept. Well, as long as you're feeling fine, it should be fine. Any reasons why you were awake for 1.5 hours, by the way? Like, did anything happen?
Easy to understand explanation in order to build up the base. So that's how we're putting the explanations. First, the easy to understand explanation in order to build up the basis of understanding, and then
Right here, this. No, I just had a few songs repeating in my head, that was all. I can relate. I can relate. I can very much relate.
and then the proper mathematical explanation in order to make sure that what you understand.
Bye. Bye, Adrian. Bye, have a good one.
And this actual physics. I would really recommend you rewatch physics. I would really recommend you rewatch this if you aren't certain what just happened, but this is the same exact thing as what we've been talking about, except described in a more concrete, better way. Alright, back to it then.
Okay, so now we have
I had cocaine, there's my hair was quite hard. I'm sorry, hold on, let me read that again. I had cocaine. I'm assuming that's a song. I'm going to guess that's a song. And you didn't just say cocaine dose.
variables, position again and the canonical momentum, which I'm just going to call the momentum from now on. So momentum is always canonical in this sense that it is a derivative with respect to of the Lagrangian with respect to velocity. These two variables seem
This is
a
unruly,
lot
okay.
more independent than position and velocity. So we're going to work with them from now on. And
I'm Swiss, I use LSD, not cocaine. Oh, that is brilliant. Hold on. I need to pop that to best comments.
we are now going to introduce the Hamiltonian formalism, which I mentioned last time in the stream.
Okay, right here, need some music start playing. So, Oh, sassy vintage jazz, hell yeah. Now we're talking. Parametric equalizer. No, actually, this one, because it's easier.
Alright, now we've got a new toy, let's use it, because we've got our Lagrangian, our kinetic minus potential, and let's also play with the Hamiltonian, so kinetic plus potential. Or actually, px dot minus the Lagrangian. How? Or actually, px dot minus the Lagrangian. How?
Okay, and right here, this gap is very unnatural for absolutely no good reason.
How? How? Well, px dot is just a really fancy way to note down momentum times velocity, or in other words, mv squared, or in other words,
I really shouldn't have moved it with everything else.
mv squared.
Whoops.
Or more attentive viewers among us may realize that this is equal to exactly 2 times 1/2 mv squared, or in other words, 2 kinetic energies. Now, what is the Lagrangian? Well, as I mentioned previously, kinetic minus potential. So this is effectively just 2 kinetic minus kinetic plus potential. Wow, we get the exact same thing! Neat. This is the whole trend of physics where basically all our equations do equal themselves, but so it's kind of hard to see the progress we're making, but each one of these equations is better and brings us more to the central point, because it's more general. So, what is the power of our new equation? Well, the power is in the partial derivatives from before. That's because we've got two variables that can vary by the position
There isn't much
and
anything here.
momentum.
That's actually, I suppose,
Now,
pretty
with
good.
that in mind, let's see how the Hamiltonian
Because
changes
that means I
in
don't
relation
have
to
to do
momentum.
anything.
So if we vary the momentum a little, how much will our total energy change? Well, its change will be equal to velocity, which, yeah, okay, that makes sense. If we have two identical cubes, one with high momentum, the other with low, then the difference
carry
between
on
their energies
generating.
will just be effectively the difference in their velocities. That's simple. But what about position? Well, position is a
Whoa,
lot
what was that?
What about position? Well, position is a lot more tricky because this time, instead of our Lagrangian disappearing, it's the momentum velocity. So,
Quick question, can I seamlessly transition between these two somehow? Because that would be just swell.
so the change in relation to position will be equal to
relatively
the
good
negative change of the Lagrangian in relation to position. Now what we could do is take the derivative in relation to time, which will make our derivative in relation to velocity this time. This is kind of like us dividing something by 2 and then multiplying it by 2, to keep the equality, except it's like calculus addition. And would you look at that? What do we have
Feels too loud, I don't know.
here?
Off my
Is our
logic there.
canonical momentum from before. So this time we get the derivative of canonical momentum in relation to time derivative. So minus p dot.
Hi, the timer.
There we go. These right here are the Hamilton equations, and they are like the Hamiltonian versions of the Euler-Lagrange equation. They will be more important later on in this video, considering how this entire video is effectively just, but what if last video was Hamiltonian instead of Lagrangian? But that's irrelevant. Let's just enjoy our brief quantum mechanical Hamiltonian while it lasts.
So the Hamiltonian as function of
I can't rush
position
through
and
this. How can I?
momentum is defined as the momentum times the velocity minus the Lagrangian, which is the function of position and velocity. Let's see how it behaves when we slightly vary x and p. What I mean with if we slightly vary x, this is usually done by a derivative. We're going to see how the Hamiltonian changes when we slightly vary it with respect to x. And we can immediately see that this first term does not depend on x. So only the second term depends on x. So what we get is the minus sign, the partial derivative of the Lagrangian with respect to x. Let's do the same for the p. And in this case, we see that the Lagrangian does not depend on p, but the first term does explicitly. And when we differentiate with respect to p, we only are left with x dot. So the second equation is nice. The first equation still
I
requires
just
some.
die every time I send a goddamn message. You're using up all the internet by sending them. It has to recharge the internet capacitors.
Well, in this case, what we know is that we have the Euler-Lagrange equations, which I just mentioned in the summary, which need to hold for physical solutions. We can fill those in, and what we get is minus the derivative with respect to time of the Lagrangian, the derivative of the Lagrangian with respect to velocity. But this is exactly what we defined as our canonical momentum.
Bless me.
So instead,
I'm
we
blessed.
end up with a time derivative of momentum, which is just p dot. So here we used the Euler-Lagrange equation to get a constraint for the Hamiltonian. Derivative of the Hamiltonian with respect to p is the velocity of x, and the derivative of the Hamiltonian with respect to x equals minus the momentum are called the Hamilton equations. Let me mark them with red because these are the counterparts to the Euler-Lagrange equations. They are of the same importance. So let's step back on why we wanted to do this before going into some examples to make this all a lot more clear. So first of all, we now have a function, the Hamiltonian, that only depends on position and momentum, canonical momentum, and this is a much more natural notion than velocity. And a second thing is, when we were solving the Euler-Lagrange equations, we had two derivatives. We had a second-order differential equation. We had a derivative with respect to velocity, but followed by a derivative with respect to time.
Oh, don't stop it. Keep going.
But now we have two equations which are both first-order differential equations. So this is usually a lot easier to solve. But what is the cost of doing all this? From the Lagrangian, we knew what it was. We knew it was the difference between kinetic and
Basically, just half
potential
an hour.
energy. It had a very easy interpretation. But what do we know about the Hamiltonian?
So with that in mind, let's ask another question. How does the Hamiltonian
We've reached half an hour.
change?
Brilliant.
Well, it is just a derivative, and using our chain rule from before, we can just note it down like this. These right here are there because of the chain rule I've explained earlier, and we add them together because they're all responsible for different parts of the function. This one is responsible for how the function is changing over time. This one is responsible for how the function is changing.
Hold on, am I the one
Equation.
quiet than
We
Remco?
had a derivative with respect to...
Now, in order to solve this,
We have two equations.
Okay, maybe not.
momentum, and this one is responsible for how the function is changing in respect to position. Now, in order to solve this, all we need to do is just realize that the derivative in relation to time just means adding a dot on top.
I'll grab myself with these,
okay,
actually.
the point is, if we just use our Hamilton's equations, we get this. Or even better, this. A 0. So what this means is that the derivative of the Hamiltonian in relation to time is equal to 0. So the change of the Hamiltonian in relation to time is equal to 0. Or that the Hamiltonian isn't changing, it's 0. So the change of the Hamiltonian in relation to time is equal to the change.
There we go.
Change of the Hamiltonian.
I'm genuinely so exhausted with this video. I remember now why I don't make long videos, or why I stopped making this long of videos. Because I've reached the point where I started hating the video a while back ago.
Relation to time.
I still need to keep going. Fortunately, I can see the end. Couple day stops.
Relation to time is equal
Unless the sponsor rejects
to 0.
the segment, in which case, well, it's gonna take a bit longer. I don't see why they would though.
Or that the Hamiltonian
I haven't set
isn't
anything on
changing.
fire
It's
even.
conservation of energy is what it is. Yeah, Hamiltonian is just kinetic energy.
I was planning to set something on fire for the sponsored segment, but then I realized that considering how it was the first one, I should probably keep it tame. In the future, I will dice up the vid to 10 parts. Remco has been recommending that, but as I mentioned, Caper that one time said that he likes longer videos, so I'm making a long video. I promised, and I shan't go back on it.
Is what it is. Yeah, Hamiltonian is just kinetic energy plus potential energy, so the total energy. This is the change of the total energy. So if the change of the total energy is equal to 0, that means energy isn't changing over time. Yeah, conservation of energy, basically.
You can say you upload a video every day. No. We're not harassing. We're not. I promise a long video, and a long video
conservation
you
of
shall
energy,
have.
basically.
Now, before
There
the
we go,
things
half an
get
hour.
real, let's consider one more thing. Let's see how the Hamiltonian
This is actually
changes in
really
time.
not bad.
For this,
I should
let's
just
just
check
consider
recording on
a
myself because
Hamiltonian
I haven't been
that
re-adding it.
does not.
Oh yeah, I haven't been re-adding that in. Oh, damn it! Oh damn it! Oh damn it! Whatever, I'll fix that later.
Explicitly dependent time. We deal with Hamiltonian
Mhm.
as a function of position and canonical momentum, and not of time. Because we could actually add the time here. I probably should have mentioned that before. Explicitly depend on time. Consider the change with Hamiltonian depends position and momentum. Depend on time. Vx. What we need to do is v0 because our Hamiltonian with how with time, because this term momentum. One thing is that the difference. I saw a message in chat asking about the different derivative. So when we want to check how the Hamiltonian, but I started this whole talk with Hamiltonian time. So what that means is this term checks if the Hamiltonian is this term is of course x dot.
Okay, this is too boring even by my standards. I don't know. We need to do something at least a little bit more interesting. At least a little bit. Give me something interesting. We could do the one-dimensional lattice. That's a good idea. So, basically, we will need for the video to simulate this. Except not simulate, we'd rather solve it. Which means that, which means what? Which means what, maybe? Which means that we need new Blender file. One-dimensional lattice. Save blended file. Ah, okay. Should I start at the end or should I start at the beginning? Ah, let's start at the beginning. I just banged my knee real bad. Okay. We need particles connected using springs, is what we need. Which will actually be something fun to set up, I hope. I've done springs in the past, I've done particles in the past. I don't see why both of them together would be any more difficult. You piss off, beautiful. Now you increase in size 30 times, 30 times, 30 times, and let's let's get this sucker. Geometry nodes, icosphere, and we'll do it. Do we want to do it using a repeat? Yeah, repeat. We'll have two parts. We'll have the icosphere itself, which will be the particle, and we'll have the spring. No. I have all here for Remco stuff, but like that's a very live-friendly format. So I take notes, ask questions like a lecture, and it's not a large amount of vibe. I mean, yeah, but in this case, I am still doing the video in portions because, like, I think it's a nice balance. It really does look like a smooth gradient because all of the purple-pink stuff is me, all of the blue stuff is Remco, the teal stuff. And it does look like a comical gradient that's slowly going from more Make It to Remco, but that's purely accidental. I think it's a really nice balance between clarity of an explanation and accuracy. How do I want to do this? Ideally, I imagine make it transitioning to Remco. Yeah. Ideally, I imagine we want each one of them. Their coordinate will be displacement from their equilibrium. Which means we want to move all of the icospheres to their equilibria, which will be combine xyz this times x math multiplied by whatever, something like 3 for now, that will do. So right now, these will be all of their equilibria. Then, their actual proper generalized coordinate will be, hold on, because I have my tism acting, I can't have them be out of order. How do we implement the generalized coordinate in a clever way? Well, we could have just a second transform. Yeah. I don't see another way to do this whole thing. Second transform, and then the same exact idea. Except this time, we don't want to plug in this directly in. Instead, we're just going to keep it flat. So this is our generalized coordinate, and this is just the equilibrium offset. Great! What we will do is we will do vector math. We'll add these two together, and we'll pass it on, simply so that each next particle can figure out the prior position of the particle, if that makes sense, which it should. And then all we need to do is we need to create a spring. Now, how does one create a spring? Wasn't there like a spring spiral? Yeah, I remember last time I have manually created a spring. I just figured out the I basically have like the XYZ coordinate, and I had the Z increase kind of like this. because the ending of the spring stretch out more, and I had the X and Y just go with a sine wave. It was such a pain to make, and only then I realized that there is an actual spiral in there. Mesh of a profile curve circle. Yeah. And now all we need to do is we need to connect them. So let's make it vids, the glows and the music just hit in a specific way when it feels like attending a science class in a nightclub. I spent a lot of effort on it, so I really hope they do hit that way. Oh, will this work actually? Indeed. So, first things first, let's move it like this. Okay. Now, hide the caper. Hide the caper. I do have to say, the entire time as I'm sitting here working on the video, I'm having a really hard time focusing on it because I'm thinking about the badger. We can do set position right here, like this. We can take the... No, let's do it the other way. There we go, this way. Yeah. Then we can take the position. Damn, it's all rough. Separate. Nope. Separate XYZ, and its height will be a 1. Simply because it will make things easier. Because then we can take the Z, plug into a color bump, move this to the middle, add this at the end, and then combine XYZ, and then math multiply these two together with X and Y respectively. Damn, I'm good. Okay, I am good. I'm waiting tirelessly for the budget push, and yet I won't review it anyway till Sunday. I will need to kind of remake the database include a bit, because the way it's currently implemented is you have the database inside of the you have the database defined inside the init. Which is there a reason actually for it? Before I change that, I suppose I should ask. Could I make a separate file just for defining the database and all the things there? Because the problem I'm having right now is I need to reference the database. Like Badger needs to reference the database, but Badger also needs to... Hold on, let me draw it out. Why am I explaining it like that? You know, you have the init, right? And the init defines the database. Then it goes on to create Badger. But Badger, in order to function, needs access to the database. And the only way to do that is to include the database, but so far the only way to include the database is to include the init file, which leads to a circular dependency. So I don't know if you get what I mean. That's not that the label for auto badging is the easiest thing in everyone. I mean, don't worry. I really like the system you've made for badges, but I do believe that in this case, when it comes to auto assigning badges, that is the thing I can be really good at. I already have an idea for how to set it up in a way that will make it extremely versatile. Extremely versatile. The only problem I'm having, as I mentioned, is this circular dependency. So I thought we could break the dependency right here by separating it off to a different file. And then we have the DB right here, like this. Anyway, actually, I should have done this diagram with a bit better colors. Because then it would have been clearer. But you get what I mean, right? The database is created in the init file, and the badger needs the access to the database. But if you include the init file, that includes the badger, which says circular dependency. If I move the database to a separate file, then there is no circular dependency, etc., etc. Well, finally, I have a different song playing in my head. Well, that's nice. There we go. Now all we need to do, well, we don't even need to do it. We can just value do it like this, and there we have a spring. Which, if we set the rotations to be something like a 10 maybe, and then we can multiply the z to renormalize it. Multiplied by the same value as nope value, same as this right here. So free. Yeah, there we go. Wait, no. No. No, this won't work. This will not. Ah, damn it. This won't work. And even worse. Okay, so right now, the. Piss. Why is it freaking to be like that? Right now, the spring goes from the prior particle to the next particle. But we can't have that because the spring will be different. But db init app must stay inside of create app. Hold on, let me recheck. Oh, this is the. I have the wrong thing opened. I had fixit opened. CD desktop projects charity website. I hope that code opens on the right screen. It did. Beautiful. Init. Yeah. No, db init. All of that can stay over there. Hold on. I need to explain it better. So basically, so far we have this. We have the init file, right? We have the badger file. I'm gonna call it bad because it's bad to the bone. And the way it works is the init file creates the database, and then it includes the badger in order to start the badger, right? It needs to include the badger to start it. The problem being that badger needs access to the database, so badger then needs to include this, which leads to a circular stuff like that. However, if instead I create a separate file to the database, then init hold on, I don't know why I started spelling the word from the end. That sometimes happens. Then init can include the database. It can then initialize the database, and then it can include badger, and then badger can just include the database, and there is no longer any circular dependency. Do you get what I mean? Cape up. Because I don't know if you understand my reasoning, or if my reasoning is correct. Stuff. Okay, I just want to make sure that there isn't like a reason why you defined it in the init, because it's always nice to check. I'm pretty certain if I do that, well, I will need to change all of the dependencies from there on out, everywhere. I will need to change them to be in every single file that includes the database. I will need to change it, if I'm not mistaken, because it will no longer be able to include the init. But actually, maybe there was a way to do it without changing the notation. I'll see what I can do. If not, then I'll just have to go through dependency hell and do absolutely everything. That's gonna be a pain. Okay, previous one will be -3, because why not? And then we have the spring. The spring we want to... We want it to start at our current coordinate. A VS Code will ask to refactor and will do it for you. I don't trust machines. Yesterday I spent 3 hours trying to euthanize a badger. Caper, you're putting too much trust in them. You know how much effort I had to go through just to kill one of them? I'm learning MySQL in class and it's hard. MySQL is quite annoying to use. I will give you that. It's really annoying. Are we making harmonic oscillator? You're actually not that far, because I mean, yeah, that is a bit of a cop-out because everything in physics is a harmonic oscillator. Okay. The translation here is correct. Now the only question is the height, which is this variable right here. This variable defines, but this variable defines height for both of them, which no we want. No. What we want is vector math subtract from the current position the past position, and then separate it off x, y, x, like this. And now it may not look any different, but I promise you it is, because now we take a random value, plug this in as ID, yeah, then we can, let's just do mix for the sake of keeping it a bit more tidy. I really hope this works. Because now we can write here, add this. Damn it! Why do you have to be like that? No. This is so incorrect. No offense, make it, but I think you're truly incredible coding. But VS Code is a long-standing professional app, and Badger was created on that day, so you trust the format a bit more. Actually, VS Code is... I don't know how professional I would call VS Code, funny enough. Because the thing is, I mean, VS Code is brilliant. I love it. The best text editor in existence. Comically enough, though, I don't think any companies like publicly accept VS Code. They do Visual Studio, which is so confusing for so many people, and I understand completely. Like, okay, look at this. This is ridiculous. VS Code. This right here, which you're seeing. Oh, how beautiful, yeah. This right here, which you're seeing, is a text editor, right? It's a text editor, and that's it. That's what it's made for. It's made for editing text, or even file editor. Let's be more open. Visual Studio. This right here is specifically made for programming in C and C++, possibly C#. I'm not quite familiar with that actually. They have the same exact logo. They're called basically the same thing, and Visual Studio is for coding. VS Code is good mainly to community extensions. Yeah, because it's set up just as a text editor and people can add to it whatever they want. It's brilliant for that reason. I have both. I have both VS Studio and VS Code, but I don't use VS Studio because why would you ever? Why would you ever give Microsoft a win? Right, this didn't work. Why did it not work? Oh, because I was supposed to change the height. That's right. This right here. No, I wasn't. This is correct. Hold on, how do you change? Oh, well, that's an interesting question. Because you are all offset. Well, that is quite curious. And you're all offset because of that. Yes, which means this is actually what we need. Okay, so I was just being an idiot. No, this is still wrong. Damn it! What do you mean VS is for coding and VS Code is for text editing and everyone codes as VS Code? Yeah, it's because there's also VS Codium if you hate Microsoft, is there really? Yeah, because that's because in, hold on. You do have the terminal, surgery, stuff, junk thing. Yeah, you do have the terminal, which is a standard way to run stuff. It's you can do whatever you want. I can do Explorer if I want to. There we go. I've just run the Explorer. I can also run code, etc., etc. VS Code by default is just used for editing text. The neat thing is that you have a lot of things attached, like for example the terminal. So if I want to run this code, then I just do gcc the problem c output test.exe, and then I can run test.exe, and there we go. I've run this file, but that's not VS Code doing it. Only that's my operating system doing it. So I can do the same exact thing right here. And like this. What would be a good analogy? I don't know what would be a good analogy actually. Because you can do the same with Notepad. Yeah, the basic functionality of VS Code is just a really, really well improved Notepad. That's the functionality. VS is a problem ID. Yeah, I think we should avoid saying things like that because, like, if we're trying to explain, difference between VS Code and VS, then mentioning IDs and such could be yeah, exactly. It could be counterproductive. ID is a fancy way of saying coding software. Is the difference between having a car and amusement park, right? No, I wouldn't say that. No. No, because like the VS Code has its own compiler. That's the big thing about VS Code, isn't it? I mean, not VS Code, only Visual Studio, sorry. Visual Studio has its own compiler, that's the big thing. Oh my goodness, what would be a good analogy? Okay, I think I may have something pretty good. Imagine, Timon, that you have two different companies that both are for creations of laboratories, right? That's what they say. They build laboratories. You have the first one where all they do is just build a building for a laboratory. That's it. And then you have a second one that builds a building for a laboratory and then fill it with their own equipment for NMR, for example, right? So you have the first one that just builds the building. It still has the safety precautions, all the stuff, just doesn't have any equipment. And the one on the right builds the laboratory and fills it with all the equipment for NMR that they designed themselves, right? It's their equipment. They hook it all up, they get everything ready. In this case, this would be the text editor, and this would be the coding program. So the text editor gives you the bare minimum, and you fill it yourself with whatever you want. So the one on the left, it doesn't matter if you want to do NMR, it doesn't matter if you want to do EPR, it doesn't matter if you want to do anything. You can do it in that building. The downside being that you need to get the equipment yourself. or borrow it from other people. The one on the right gives you the equipment you need, but since they give you the equipment that they designed themselves, but since they give you that equipment that you need, you can't really do anything else than NMR. You can't really do anything else than the equipment that you've been provided with. That's why this one is just a text editor, because that's all it does. It's a text editor that you add stuff to yourself, and the one on the right is specifically coding software because it has all of the coding tools. My goodness, I've nailed it with this analogy. Tangentially, after reading the SQL docs, I cooked up the way to sacrifice the database to Badger. Yes! Make it, I tried to come out Professor, the most cliche thing ever happened. Like, genuinely, you can't believe what happened. Because it could be the really good or really bad. I'm gonna get myself another cup of joe for this. Close. I feel. By the way, yesterday I genuinely did spend hours on the website Caper, which I finally feel like I'm in my element because I'm actually doing functional stuff in Python. One push that you won't stash, so. I'm gonna just send it in formatted in chat. Let me see. Oh, by the way, all of the chat messages did not send. Sorry, I only I saw it. Yes. Yeah, I know. That's what I was planning to do. Don't worry. That's precisely what I was planning to do. Largely building house from scratch or remodeling the house. In one, you're just editing the house, and the other, you're basically building it. Well, that's the thing. VS Code has the potential to do anything that VS does. In fact, my VS Code can do everything that VS Code does. Because I've just gotten so many extensions over the years. The difference is that Visual Studio gives you, like, the whole point of Visual Studio is those tools. That's why I use the text editor of Visual Studio is just an addition on top. After the summer lecture, I walked up and he knows my face, and we had some line direction before, so what weird. So basically, I wanted to see if he had this spot open, this research group, and just literally, just as I got the point, another honors professor walked in and steals him away. Now I have to remaster my courage for the next encounter, for fuck's sake. Oh, that is horrible. Oh, but you can do it, Ash. You've done it once before. Don't let those old pricks hold you back. Remember, you're not a mathematician. You're the mathematician pretending to be a physicist. You can do it. You have all the courage that you require. Oh, third server. According to Discord recap. Oh. Oh. I see. So let me get that. Alright, Ash, have a good one, good luck. I really want to work on Badger right now. You all have put me in the mood to be Badger in a way. But I should get on this first. Subtract. This gives me X delta between them. But the delta x should just be equal to x1 minus x0, and this clearly doesn't work. Which means there must be something wrong. What happens if we vary the height? No, it is accurate. It is all accurate, it is all accurate. Going to the recap, my squad was you, Remco and Timon this year. I haven't... Why are you all seeing the Discord recap? All my apps are just scared to show me my recap. I haven't seen any of my recaps. I want to ask you, make it. What if all the Power Rangers were secretly gay? Obviously they are. Have you seen them? Secretly is also doing a lot of heavy lifting there. Pavis or someone that could have been Remco. Numbers don't lie. My squad has been... I don't have a squad apparently. I don't have a recap. Why isn't this working? What's wrong with you? Or is it because this? That could be the reason. Oh! That looks a lot more correct. Yeah! Brilliant. Okay, that might be a bit much. Let's do 2 and minus 2. There we go. Now the springs are correctly attached. Good start. In this code I had to open in the browser. It's a green flag icon next to the inbox top right. Oh yeah, I don't have that sort of thing. I have green icons in this economy. If it's a that's not a squad, that's a crew. Come on, Caper. You should know the difference. Jeez. You mean to tell me that you don't know the difference between a squad, gang, and a crew? I got a homemade semiconductor, but it's my own photography machine to do fun stuff. I say go for it. All of these things are a lot... Well, usually all the machinery is a lot easier to do than it seems. I need to have my gay, exactly. No, I'm certain you... Oh, yeah, I'm certain you misspelled it on accident, Caper, don't worry, I got you. Yeah, what an awful typo it was, indeed. Ah, gosh dang it. Damn it, you got me thinking, I keep thinking about budget. Because, like, I have a... Remove my comments, okay, we can do best comments. Timon, the removed comments, they just say that they're removed from my perspective. Upping gay is not a character for me. That is correct, yeah. I'm playing a fun you shan't think about, and you do it. I am an obsessive person. I have an extremely obsessive personality. And a key change! difficult it is to switch to a different key and then play the same melody? Not that difficult when you played it every single day for a couple of hours for the past week. I for the record still have the longest best comment streak. That is true. Although you have cheated because you have caught me on my cooking meat shirtless private live stream. So also, make it. I don't mean to be that guy, but being that guy is relative to who you're talking about. So depending on the situation, I could be that guy, and this is how relativity works, folks. I genuinely thought you were going somewhere with that. I read through that entire comment thinking that you were about to make your point. Let me think. Caper, should I walk on the badger on stream? Because I could just show you then what the badger is so far. I mean, I could just show the .env file, right? Then I mean, let everyone have a crack. That's a genuine thing. I never know how much I can show code-wise about websites. That's because security through obscurity, as horrible as it may be, is still a valid choice. If you are making things more difficult for the attacker, then even if it's security through obscurity, that additional layer is genuinely helpful. I've seen that happen with my own eyes. I've seen a bloke just hacker style do a... Oh my goodness, how do I even explain this? You know what? I would actually like to retract my statement. I'm not gonna elaborate on what I saw or I might have seen. Maybe I saw something that didn't exist. Hey, maybe I was just hallucinating. What's security through obscurity? It's exactly what it sounds like. It's basically the idea that the less the attacker knows about your system, the more difficult it is for them to break in. So basically, not only want to have some kind of password, right, that you need to know to get in, but you also don't want the person trying to break in to know how to give you that password. That's the idea. Have you considered obfuscating code? I have no idea how it works or what it is, but it sounds cool. It's not as cool, unfortunately. Unfortunately, obfuscating your code is not cool. Encrypting it, that sounds cool and it could be cool. When you have all your code encrypted and then you just have Flask decrypted on the spot. That is a cool idea. For no reason whatsoever. Is there a way to run WebAssembly in JavaScript, in Python, in C? I think skip the middleman and just ask the question if there is a way to run WebAssembly in Flask. Because in that case, I'm all for it. Hey. There's no one to solve because we have no clue where to even start. If they are giving you random strings of characters, they might just be genuinely giving you hashes. Hold on. Is this what they look like? Oh, I suppose you won't be able to see, will you? Is this what those random characters look like? 8 characters long. No. I suppose it would be MD. Would it be MD5 or just SHA-1? No, MD5. I don't remember which one was just. I could have sworn there was like there was some kind of GitHub hosted website that also allowed you to pick the type of hash. Oh. Piss off. Which one of the hashes was? Make it. They look like our NV file. Could we compare? I know what the hash looks like. Make it. Timon, you really got to work on yourself in that regard because the two okay, hold on. This, how should I put this, is a beautiful display of human hubris. That's because if one character is 16 bits, right? 2 characters gives us a byte, which means 8 characters, that would be 4 bytes. Correct me if I'm wrong. That is obviously if we are dealing with just hexadecimal. Hashes don't have to be 200 characters long. They can actually be way shorter. They can actually have any length. Which is why I was just clicking over through different types of hashes looking for the shortest one possible. Deciphering time in the series. This one isn't even Decipher. I've had worse people do Decipher. Ah, the philosophers especially. Those are a tough nut to crack. Hashing sounds boring. We should do Veneer Cipher doing code stuff. If I'm not mistaken, hashing is just a general phrase. Hold on. Define hashing. My favorite way hash to me was high because he emphasized on hashes being super long. Normally you want them to be long. It's like, because, well, if it's short then it's much. There are a lot of reasons. Yeah. Fixed size output from a variable input. The fixed size can be anything. Like, someone in Discord pinged you about something philosophical in the physics channel and Loki thought you might have banished him. I was asleep. I saw that someone pinged me, but when I woke up I couldn't find the ping. I'm assuming that Remco took care of them. Haven't got a clue. No, hold on, I think I found it. Gotta go again. Alright, see ya, Caper. Oh, jeez, now I need to read through the entire conversation. This kind of the math is too good to be true, and I don't think it should be true. Philosophical, which is comical. actually they were asking what allowed it to work, and it's really tempting for me to just reply with I allowed it to work. I gave it the permission. Why doesn't it have more to apply my first one cycle is something happened and try to understand what made it happen. What made it happen? I'm losing my mind. What if it doesn't apply to it and something happens, something is why does all this happen? Oh jeez, okay. The whole universe doesn't reflect the mouth, the universe itself. The mouth is just what we understand and turn through to begin with two words. Actually discovered I was there before. Oh jeez. Oh, the entire thing is just a discussion of is math discovered or invented. Okay. Alright. Well, if you're going to be here by... Oh, no, never mind. I thought you were saying you were going to leave. You know what, Randy? If you're going to be half asleep, then what's the point of me? Assuming. Yeah. No, that's it. I'm going to go now. I'm going to go because... Well, I feel like if I won't finish Badger, I won't be able to get it off my mind, and then I won't be productive. And I need to be productive, because I have a video to work on. If I don't, I'll... I'll be in trouble. So, I'm going to go. I also tried to sort out the Discord thing, although I do have to say, the conversation was a lot more... It was very cultured. I'm impressed. Good for all of you. I'm proud of all of you. So thank you all for doing that. And for now, that'll be it. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Bye.